Hello everybody, this is Dr. Jeff. I was asked over the last couple days the same question over and over again on the Activated Weight Loss website. It seems that we have two questions that continue to be asked, and I decided that I would go ahead and shoot a video to try to answer the questions, and so everyone has a resource for these two problems. Problem number one is, what do we do when we have somebody that starts the mind-body system and is not losing weight? They're not responding the way that they would like to, or if they're comparing to themselves to other people on the website, they're not doing as well as they would like. And number two is, how do we handle conversion from an injectable prescription GLP-1 to the mind-body system? So I'm going to handle both of those questions today in the video, but I'm going to set some groundwork first. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about what we were seeing in my clinical practice. When we were using the injectable GLP-1s, we were seeing a couple important facts. Fact number one is we saw a lot of side effects. At least 20 to 30% of the patients that were on the injectable GLP-1s had some GI side effects. They would either have nausea, they would have vomiting, diarrhea, or esophageal reflux. I was on the medications for about 8 months. I had 3 of the 4. I did not have the constipation, but I had all the rest. I found out that I could not drink alcohol whatsoever on the GLP-1s. If I drank any alcohol, I would be up all night with reflux, or I'd have to sit and sleep upright in a recliner. We had some patients that wanted to lose weight so bad that they would take their injections on a Friday. They would be in bed all day Saturday and all day Sunday from the nausea and vomiting, and they would make it to work on Monday just to lose weight. Not really a way that you want to live your life. The other problem that we saw is we had a group of people that did not lose weight. They became frustrated and either quit or transferred their care to another physician's office. And we were able to figure out that small group of people. And a lot of times it had to do with hormone balance. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but I've shot a previous video that discusses that. So that was the one problem. The other problem that we're seeing now with the mind-body system is, what do you do when you're already taking an injectable GLP-1? You're already on a prescription medicine through your doctor and you want to convert over to the mind-body system. How do we handle that conversion? Initially, people were stopping their injectable, starting the mind-body system. And the one thing that we were seeing was those people were not losing any weight. It would take, and we're only early in the period that people have been on it. The mind-body system was released about 6 or 7 weeks ago. We had the back order, so a lot of people were only on it for the first month. So we do not have a lot of data, but what we were seeing was that group of people were not losing weight as fast. And there is a complete reason behind that. So that's kind of the ground rules. Now, what is the reason behind people that do not lose weight as fast as they would like? Either because they're converting over or because they're starting the mind-body GLP-1 system and just not having the same response that they would like. There's a couple factors that factor into that. One is something called insulin resistance. So what is insulin resistance? It is your body's ability to metabolize glucose. So we eat food, the sugar in that food, glucose, is metabolized in the gut, and then insulin's job is to push that glucose into the cell. Now, if our body is resistant to insulin, that means that the insulin levels go up, but the blood sugar levels don't go down. That should be the response. As your blood sugar goes up, insulin metabolizes the blood sugar, and the blood sugar goes down. As blood sugar goes down and insulin goes down, then glucagon goes up, and glucagon is what gives us the hunger response. GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide 1. it mimics the response of glucagon, and it blocks the receptor site from glucagon attaching, so we do not get that hunger response. That's one of the effects of the GLP-1 system, mind-body, or a GLP-1 drug. The other thing that lowers our impact of GLP-1 in the system is people that are emotional eaters. There's been some studies done that show as we increase our emotional eating, so you're eating because you're depressed, you're eating because you're happy, those emotional eaters have a less response to GLP-1. So if you fall into that category, that's something that you have to be cognizant of, because you're not going to have the same response as other people on the GLP-1 system, on the mind-body system, or if you were taking one of the drugs in the past. You have to be able to control that emotional eating, and that'll allow your GLP-1 to work better. So there's some groundwork on how this works and how the system works. So let's talk about two different things. Let's talk about first people that are starting the mind body for the first time. They have not been on an injectable. They are, we'll call them virgin GLP-1 users. Those virgin users, there's a couple factors that play into this. First is, are you activated? If you have been around LifeVantage for a period of time, you understand activation. You know, LifeVantage is the take it to make it company. So if you are activated with Protandim, then what that means is you're decreasing your oxidative stress. Your body is using up the free radicals that can attack our cells and cause premature aging. Now, part of that is the diets that we eat, very high in ultra-processed foods, that increases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress actually attacks our endocrine system. So it lowers the metabolism of foods because it lowers thyroxine from your thyroid gland, it lowers testosterone, and it lowers human growth hormone. So by lowering those three things, our metabolism goes down, so we do not lose weight as fast. Until we get that handled, then we're going to be at a disadvantage. So I think it's important to be activated maybe up to 2 months, either during the start of your mind-body GLP-1 system, or if there continues to be a back order before we even start the mind-body GLP-1 system. Second is we got to make sure that we control our emotional eating. So once we have all that controlled and we start the system, hopefully once that's started, you'll start losing weight. Now, what happens if you don't? We're seeing people that are on the activated weight loss site that are 6 weeks in and they've only lost a pound a week, or maybe they've even gained some weight. So what's happening with these people? Well, what's happening is your levels of circulating GLP-1, your body's level of GLP-1 is so low that it's taking your body time to response. One way of handling that is to double your MB core to help increase the amount of GLP-1 in your system. I do not think you need to increase the mind-body enhance, because that is mostly fiber, so I don't think that needs to be increased. But I think you can double the mind-body core maybe for 2 to 4 weeks to give your body that boost to help you through the initial few months. So that takes care of people that are starting as virgins on a GLP-1. Now, what happens if you're converting from GLP-1, an injectable prescription source, to the mind-body system? What happens in that case? Well, that's kind of a specific case, because let's think about that. You have two sources of GLP-1. You have your body making GLP-1, which we call endogenous, coming from within. And then you have the injection that you give once a week, which we call exogenous. Well, when we take an exogenous source of a hormone, any hormone, what your body does is it shuts off its production of that hormone. The levels in the blood are high enough, the body recognizes that, and there's a feedback loop that says you don't need to make the hormone anymore. There's plenty around circulating through the body. So as long as you keep taking the injection, there's a good amount of hormone. But what happens when you reach your goal? What happens when you lose that 40, 50, 60, 80 pounds and you stop your injections? Well, your body hasn't been making it for months. That means your circulating endogenous GLP-1 is at 0. All your body is depending on is what you're getting from your weekly injection. So let's say that we take our weekly injection on Monday, and you've taken it last Monday. This Monday you're going to stop it and you're going to start the mind-body system. Well, your level's at 0. So if you start the mind-body system, it's going to take weeks to months to even get up to a normal level. Not the 140% of normal that we saw in the study, but even to get up to baseline normal. It may take 8 to 12 weeks to reach that level. So what can you do? You can wait out that first 3 months, understand that you might not be losing as fast, don't get frustrated. If you can do it, double up on your core, just like I said for people that were struggling with weight loss when they were virgin GLP-1 users, double up on that core to try to get your level up faster. I expect that people that are coming off of the GLP-1 to have this issue. Now, there's a second way to do this. If we plan ahead, I would not stop the GLP-1 injections, the prescription, cold turkey. What I would do is a week before you plan on stopping, maybe even 2 weeks before you plan on stopping, I would start the mind-body. This allows your body to start making some of the endogenous. It gives the building blocks that the body needs. Once we build up those building blocks, then say at the end of your second week of building that up, you can stop the full injection, and maybe on that first week take a half of the injection. This is going to prevent you from gaining some weight back. And then maybe the second week, just take a quarter of the injection. Now think, if you have the syringe, you have a half and 2 quarters, or you have 4 quarters. So you can take 2 the first week, 1 the next week, 1 the next week, and then by week 5, you are on the full dose of mind-body. This should allow that transition so you do not have the frustration of not losing weight for the first 4, 6, 8 weeks, because you're going from a level of 0 and have to build back up. I hope that all makes sense. I think that is the best strategy. I think we're going to probably have to talk about stopping strategy. What's going to happen when we reach our weight goal on the mind body and we decide we're at our goal weight? What should we do? My thoughts right now is, because of all the secondary gains from GLP-1, the nerve protection, the brain protection, the heart and kidney protection, I think staying on it, maybe even lifetime, is going to be a benefit. Now, I know that's going to be expensive for some people, so maybe staying on it at a half dose as long as you possibly can. I think you will not lose weight as fast. I think you'll stabilize your weight, but it has all the protective benefits. And we're seeing the GLP-1 injections, we're seeing some new studies come out where it's helping with Alzheimer's, it's helping with Parkinson's. We're seeing some great studies that's helping with addiction. We know that GLP-1, when we're trying to lose weight, it suppresses the pleasure center of the brain. So we do not get the same pleasure from food that we got in the past. It keeps us from not feeling hungry, from always feeling satiated. And so with that being noted, some doctors are using it for things like alcohol abuse or drug abuse to also affect that pleasure center, and they're seeing some great results. So there are more and more results coming out of how it can be beneficial. So maybe it is a product that you want to stay on forever. You want to keep your GLP-1 system activated as long as you can. I think the combination of mind, body, and Protandim could be something that we just want to stay on forever. I know I went longer than I normally do. I'm at about 15 minutes. I hope that you find all of this exciting as I do. I hope it's beneficial. As always, if you watch the video, you can always comment below, and I'll try to answer any of those questions that pop up. Hope you have a great week. I love you all, and have a great holiday. Bye-bye.